Everyone thinks a wireless Android Auto dongle either works or it doesn't, but here's the thing. The real test isn't the first connection, it's the 10th, the 20th after a week of heat, downtown Wi-Fi clutter, and back-to-back calls. And that's exactly where the Hansshow Wireless Android Auto did something I didn't expect. During 3 weeks of testing across 2 cars and 2 phones, it quietly solved the annoyance most adapters never fix. Reliable, fast reconnection without babysitting, but it wasn't perfect out of the box. I had to tweak a couple of buried settings that completely changed the experience. What I discovered might change how you judge these adapters. Before we dive into what I discovered, quick heads up. If you're already leaning in and want the best current deal, I've got the link below. Stick around though, because a single setup tweak is the difference between silky smooth and hair pulling. Here's why I even bought this. My 2019 Mazda 3 has wired Android Auto, and my 2020 Honda Civic does too. Daily, that useless dance, plug in, untangle cable, forget the cable, then no maps. I tried 2 other wireless adapters last year. One took a full 30 seconds to connect every morning and randomly dropped Spotify. The other needed constant firmware fiddling that broke more than it fixed. I wanted one thing. A dongle that disappears. I drive 45 minutes each way, usually juggling navigation, a couple of calls, and voice texts. If it stutters or fails to reconnect after a gas stop, it's worse than a cable. So I went in skeptical. I timed every boot, logged drops, and pushed it in the exact conditions that killed my previous adapters. First test, cold starts. I filmed the dash and timed from ignition to Android Auto ready. In both cars, once the head unit was awake, Hansshow consistently brought Android Auto up in 8 to 12 seconds. That's quick. One competitor I tested last year averaged 20 to 25. But then I hit the downtown gauntlet, congested Wi-Fi, lots of interference, and a concrete parking garage. I ran the same commute 5 days straight with a Pixel 7 and a Galaxy S23. Result? 0 full disconnects, 1/2 second audio hiccup while descending into the garage. The real surprise was when I turned the car off to run into a store, came back 3 minutes later, and it resumed within about 6 seconds without me touching anything. Next, I stress-tested phone switching because in the real world, a passenger will want to take over. By default, Hansshow reconnects to the last phone it saw, which can be annoying if your partner drove last. But here's where it gets interesting. A quick toggle in the web interface gives you an easy priority list. With that on, a long press on the steering wheel voice button, and 5 to 7 seconds later, my phone took control cleanly. Track changes had around 200 ms latency, fast enough that it feels instant. Voice commands through Google Assistant were responsive, navigation prompts ducked music correctly, call quality. The car's built-in mic and echo cancellation worked as expected, so people on the other end heard me clearly at highway speeds. No audio drift, no weird doubling. But then I found the first weak spot. Initial pairing was not perfectly intuitive. You pair Bluetooth first, then it hands off to Wi-Fi, miss that order and you chase your tail. Also in the heat test, 95 degrees parked in the sun. After a 42-minute drive, the casing was warm and I had one freeze at a red light. Unplug, replug back in 10 seconds. It only happened once, but it's worth noting if you live in a hot climate without good cabin pre-cooling. Here's the big reveal. Out of the box, mine was set to mix 2.45 GHz. That worked, but I saw those tiny hiccups downtown. For round 2, I locked it to 5 GHz only and set a 3-second launch delay, both toggles in the setup page. That single change eliminated the quirks. Connection became predictably fast even after short stops, and the micro stutters disappeared on the exact same route. I ran 10 commutes, 14 hours total, with 0 full drops. Compared to the Motorola MA1 on the same cars, Hansshow matched or beat reconnect speed by a couple of seconds and felt more stable in interference-heavy areas, though the MA1 stayed cooler to the touch. Versus a budget adapter I tried, Hanshow's firmware felt more mature, no mystery reboots, and the web UI actually saved settings properly. Now, is it too good to be true? Not quite. You still get the inherent Android Auto compression. This won't satisfy audiophiles chasing lossless playback. If your head unit is one of those finicky early Android Auto implementations, you may need to update your car's system firmware to get consistent results. And no, it won't magically add Android Auto to cars that never had it. Your car must already support wired Android Auto. But for most modern OEM head units, once you lock 5 GHz and set that short launch delay, it behaves like native wireless. That's what impressed me. It stopped feeling like a hack and started feeling invisible. Now that you know the 5 GHz and launch delay settings are the secret sauce, the next step is simple. Grab it while it's in stock and before the next firmware batch gets stretched thin. I've linked the best current price below, plus I'll pin my exact setup steps so you can copy them. Bottom line. Hansshow Wireless Android Auto nails the one metric that matters: fast, reliable reconnection. If you take 2 minutes to dial in the settings. If you commute daily, hate cables or rideshare and swap phones often, this is an easy recommend. If you're extremely heat sensitive or chasing studio-grade audio, you may want to stick with a cable or a cooler running alternative. For everyone else, this turns Android Auto into what it should have been all along: automatic. Convenience is only great when it's invisible, and this is the first time my dongle truly disappeared.